Okay, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of WrestleSlam. I'm joined with a team of Timmy, Matt, Phil, Jer, and Elizabeth. It's yet again a big show ahead. There's a lot of gossip in the wrestling world as always. We're loving it. Phil, I'm going to go to you first, my man. There's a lot of rumors about a big departure in WWE. Now, it was trending on Twitter last night. I don't know what Charlotte Flair is thinking right now either, but are we about to see the man himself leave and depart?
I think so. I think it's. I mean, if not, he's just going to sit on the sidelines for the next few months. But he hasn't been seen for 5 months. I suppose who we're talking about is Cien Almas because. Yeah. But yeah, it's been 5 months since he's been on TV.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like, obviously, we know how gifted this guy is. Now, he doesn't get a lot of respect for his mic skills and stuff. But Jordan Elizabeth, like, would you be shocked to see him go, or do you think he'll be used better, like in AEW or Impact? Obviously, he's a great wrestler, and we've seen what he could have done from the early days on. You know.
Would you like to go there?
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So, definitely have a couple of opinions. We chatted about this morning. I mean, from the get-go, the worst thing they ever could have done was split him as Zelina Vega up because she was his mouthpiece, and as skilled as he is, he does lack in that department, but they were money. So if he does leave, wherever he's going to go, he's going to need either time to work on his in-ring mic skills, or he's going to have his promos, or he's going to need someone to be a mouthpiece. Be great to get the two of them back together because we know what they can do. But I know his release was reportedly denied, so he'll probably keep trying. So as Phil said, it would be a shame to see him sat on the sidelines for ages, but it's probably best for him to go if he wants his personal life and his professional life to flourish, because to be honest, they'll do anything to keep her. But if that means just kind of throwing him in now and then, or, throwing him in this big picture come Mania and then he's gone again for months, it's going to be really rocky road for him. But I think he's better out, to be honest.
Yeah. I think that Vince actually turned on him after he failed that test.
Well, that could be an issue, yeah.
I think he'll go back to Mexico where he can be a megastar and speak in his own language. I think WWE might leave and go to Mexico if he signs a contract stating for the length of what's left of his WWE deal he can't appear in the United States.
Yeah,
because he won't affect them down in Mexico. He'll be the top down there because he speaks his language. It's not that he can't do promos, because when he was in Mexico, he was the main event every show. He was able to talk because he was talking his way. It just the English language doesn't. He can speak English, but just speaking English and doing a promo in English was just totally different.
But just kind of speaking of him there, right? Charlotte Flair mentioned recently that her feud with Lacey Evans made no sense. Did you see that? Did you read that?
Yeah. I think Charlotte didn't.
It didn't. It made no sense.
Yeah.
That pregnancy was her. Honestly, best thing that happened to both of them was Lacey becoming pregnant, to be honest, to get her out of that storyline.
I know Charlotte, but Charlotte mightn't even have an opponent because Asuka looks like she's out.
Yeah,
concussions,
I saw that. Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about the Lacey Evans storyline, but I kept saying, I'll give it a go. But when Lacey Evans announced that she's pregnant, I'm like, no, I'm done. I swear if they're going to say Ric Flair's the dad.
When Rick started dancing, it was like, oh.
Woo!
Yeah.
Tim, I want to get back to a point there, Tim, when you talked about the whole return to Mexico. Like, I'm not going to compare him to Alberto Del Rio, right? But
he was bigger than Del Rio.
We've seen what happened when Del Rio went back to Mexico, and obviously, they're a different kind of fish, you know what I mean? But it's surely they're really messing up, Eric. We've seen what he done in NXT. Now, obviously, the mic skills is a big thing with Vince, but they're losing one of the greatest. No, that's a kind of a crazy statement.
Well, one of the greatest Hispanic stars in this current generation.
Yeah, they made a big mistake. They're making a big mistake. They obviously don't see something in him. Maybe he should go away and come back in a couple of years when Vince won't have power.
Yeah. No,
the thing is, I know this is going off topic, but WWE re-signed John Laurinaitis.
Head of talent relations.
Yeah.
No, we are going off topic, but I'm going to say something, right? It's obviously open the book for me right now to talk about this, right? We're seeing the likes of Aleister Black, right? And Ricochet could have done the pecking order. Jor, what's your take on this whole Aleister Black and Ricochet? Do you really think that Vince has something, like, some kind of vendetta against NXT stars being absolute machines on the main roster, or do you think it's just a case of Vince being Vince, or
I think it's a bit of both. I think one of them, he doesn't like having stars that he didn't create. Like those boys were stars before they came into WWE, and they're not changing their name. Like Ricochet trademarked his own name. Like they all had their names before they came in, and Vince wants to put his own stamp on them. And these boys, they're letting them put their stamp on them, but at the same time, they're trying to buy their names, they're trying to trademark their names, and they're not letting it happen. So Vince is holding a grudge against them for that. Plus, I think he's trying to step on Triple H as well and say, look, you may think you're big, but at the minute I'm still in charge. So these boys, as far as I'm concerned, are minor leagues. Like, so when they come up here, they'll be treated like enhancement talent for the boys that Vince has created. But he's done it to everybody. He's been doing it for years. Like even with Drew McIntyre, like I know Drew, he blames himself for it. Like, but at the same time, he wasn't getting booked properly. He was supposed to be this big thing, and he disappeared. And he came back, and now they're acting like, oh, we created him, but Drew did that himself in the Indies. Like, that's himself. Like,
obviously, like I go back to Keith Lee, right? I remember seeing Keith Lee wrestle for the first time in person at OTT Wrestling, and I always remember saying to myself, how could a guy so big do all the moves of a cruiserweight, right? And then obviously he goes to NXT, does really well in NXT. We've seen him drop the belts and obviously go to the main card. Like, to me, Keith Lee, obviously when you look at Drew McIntyre right now, and obviously there's the whole Sheamus thing, and obviously, Edge is back and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's not the year for Keith Lee to headline something, but surely that man has it in him and has a lot of talents in the world to headline a WrestleMania, given he's athletic build and the fact he's so big and he can pull off these moves.
Yeah, he's just not great on the microphone.
The minute Keith Lee trademarked his name, Vince started jobbing him out. The minute he trademarked his name.
Yeah, he knew what was coming. He absolutely knew what was coming and saw what was going on with others and just thought, balls to this, I'm going to protect myself, my brand, what I've created by myself. So absolutely, I don't blame him.
And you can see Vince is getting worried because just even down to NXT UK, to go off topic slightly, but it's about the same thing. He's after changing your man Ben Carter's name already to one of his own creations to make sure that your man doesn't, because he wasn't a huge name. He's trained, he's good. But to make sure he doesn't build up his name because it was his real name, because he could use that on the indies when he finally leaves, if he leaves. Just doing things like that. He's afraid of making stars that have their own names trademarked so that they can use make money off of him, is basically what he's trying to say.
I remember Keith Lee making his debut on Raw against, I think it was Randy Orton. He cut a statement. The infamous line when he said, I'm Keith Lee and I'm limitless. I'm like, oh, that's something Vince would say. So as soon as we saw the debut, exactly, we actually saw when he made his debut, we thought, I think he's going to go down. But it's like what you said, Keith Lee's smart enough. He knows where past going down to. He's pretty much going with the flow, but creating his own brand is kind of a step up for any future lads from NXT coming onto the main roster.
Yeah.
There's a reason Johnny Gargano and Ciampa are refusing point blank to come to the main roster. They got called up and they begged to go back, and they're still back there.
Yeah.
And
they are not.
Ciampa said he'll retire if they try and bring him back to the main roster.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Because Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa had probably one of the best rivalries in wrestling to date. That's what I think, anyway. So they are NXT.
But they'd be ruined on the main roster, and Ciampa has legitimately said, and I believe him, that if he's brought back to the main roster again, he will retire.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell, definitely. We have to go to SmackDown, obviously, lads. It's fresh. We've seen a lot of stuff on SmackDown. One part I liked was Seth Rollins yet again. Fashion seems to be his IQ these days. But obviously we've seen that little kind of camo with Nakamura, which was interesting. That's a match I personally, to me, that could be a main event, for a title on the road. But Matt, did you get a chance to catch up on SmackDown and, what you reckon? Obviously, we've seen Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge all kind of going at it as well. But did you enjoy it?
Yeah, so I've unfortunately only saw the bits of SmackDown, unfortunately, since it was just last night. I'm no longer a night owl, unfortunately. But I actually kind of like this SmackDown. It's good kind of lead up to Fastlane, especially with the promo with Edge and Daniel Bryan. If you ask me now, with the lead up to Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, I'm kind of hesitant. I wouldn't mind to see who wins. I know it's going to be Roman Reigns. I can see him holding the title at least till WrestleMania, especially with Edge, OJ to be in the ringside. So I enjoyed this SmackDown a lot. And also I'm glad to see a bit of Cesaro getting a bit of a notice and a good rivalry up to, in WrestleMania season with Seth Rollins, as you said.
Yeah.
Still don't know what they're doing with Murphy. I think he's back being the disciple of Seth Rollins, I think I saw. But
yeah, they've really made a buzz of it, if you ask me. Like, during Elizabeth, like, obviously we see Murphy had a feud with Rollins. Obviously, Rollins went away. Obviously, he came back. Seems though like they're trying to get that whole Murphy and Rollins thing back online. They're definitely getting the storylines wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Murphy's an incredible wrestler, but like, Joe, what's your take on this whole Rollins thing? Obviously, he's back. He looks the part. Obviously, he's not really kind of, at the top rank at this moment in time. But surely he's working towards something.
Yeah.
I think they're too scared to make him face yet because they expect him to go straight for Roman Reigns, like, so they're just going to keep him in the background until ready to turn him. But this is like Nakamura's staring out to enhance. He's not going to get the big push. He's going to there to push everybody else. So I'd say him and Rollins will get a match at Fastlane. Rollins will beat him and go on and face Cesaro at WrestleMania. Like,
yeah. Is it the case then on Monday Night Raw after Mania we're going to see Rollins come out and do something to Roman Reigns maybe?
I'd leave it for another while. Maybe SummerSlam, maybe further on down the line.
SummerSlam feud, I'd say.
Yeah, he's not ready yet to be the face of the company. Like, I know the minute his Burn It Down song comes on, everybody's going to go mad for it. Like, but this whole vision thing, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they should have left it when he got injured, or when he went away for his paternity leave. They should have just left it and come back as Seth Rollins. Arrogant prick that he was.
I agree. Now, Phil, there's obviously a lot of rumours floating about lately that Vince had a big meltdown recently. So, like, when we seen all this AEW stuff happen, apparently Vince scrapped a lot of stuff and said, you know what, we're going to get Balor and stuff. What do you reckon the rumours and the gossip mean in regards to that? Does it mean he changes his WrestleMania card a small bit, or does he just...
Basically,
rumors?
That's what it is. He's going to change the WrestleMania card. And I also think there's no Brock this year. I know Tim's talked about it before.
It's too late. It's too late now, I'd say.
It's a bit late.
So we're actually going to see Drew and Bobby.
Not that I have anything against Drew. I have no interest in that match.
Yeah.
Shouldn't Sheamus be in it as well?
I don't know. Like, are they going to take the title off Lashley already when he seems to be getting over and everyone seems to love it? I don't think they will.
No,
they shouldn't. He looks the part.
If they take the title away from Bobby Lashley, I think they'd say we're all going to get out of WWE because he deserves this title. It's been a long time coming, like, so too soon.
Yeah, and I don't think Drew needs to lose at WrestleMania either. Like, so why put them in together? That's why I thought they'd bring Brock in, because Brock doesn't care about wins or losses. It's all about money and if it's the right guy to face. Yeah. So Brock would happily lose to the likes of Lashley because I think he has great time for him. So.
I mean, I think some of us probably holding on hope, like maybe last minute Brock Lesnar will show up Fastlane, but because maybe that would be like the common surprise for Brock Lesnar.
They did mention his name recently, but I can't see it happening.
Are the restrictions lifted? Can he travel?
Yeah. Jordan Devlin is back on NXT next week.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, Jordan Devlin made the most Irish promo ever. It's just him. You can see the Aer Lingus playing in the background, and a Dublin announcer from on the air comms. I'm like, oh, Irish, perfect. So fair play.
The only thing missing was him sitting with a picture of a pint, ready.
There's a thing about that. I know Tim will agree with me. You watch NXT UK, don't you?
Yeah.
They're doing this thing with Trent where he's trying to lose weight to fight Devlin.
Yeah, but
it's almost like he doesn't even watch NXT UK.
Yeah, but the reason he was doing that, I'd say the problem was they didn't think that Devlin would be able to travel so soon, and they were trying to just have storylines ready for him. But obviously, Devlin's he's going to be on the main roster full time because we saw there that the Lord of the Manor, Paul Tracy, posted a big goodbye tweet for him and all this. Because they'd be, they're around each other 18 years since Devlin was a child. He trained him along with Balor. But obviously he's gone full time now. He's not coming over just to defend the title at a takeover and go back to NXT UK.
But they're doing a weigh-in though on the bump this week.
Exactly. So he's going there. I don't know.
Trent and him are doing a weigh-in this week.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's like somebody doesn't watch the product from whoever, they don't watch
Well, Vince McMahon definitely doesn't watch the product because I don't think he watches NXT nor mind NXT UK.
Has it been recorded already? Had the match already been pre-taped?
Maybe.
Maybe. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Now, I'm going to switch quickly to Raw and obviously that match between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, lads. Now, the reason I bring it up is because, yet again, it does seem to trend on a late Monday night, Tuesday morning here in Ireland. But there's some history between both. Now, it was dropped earlier on that obviously we might see Lashley, Drew, and Sheamus in the triple threat at WrestleMania. Now, personally, I'd love to see that. I think there's more of an appeal to that because with a three-way, you never really know what's going to happen. Obviously, we suspect that Bobby will keep that belt for a while, but we've seen the damage that Drew and Sheamus conflicted to each other. Obviously, there's a lot of whip marks and the damage they kind of inflict on each other is incredible. But did you enjoy that match, Phil? Did you get a chance to see it? What do you reckon?
They battered each other.
Yeah,
absolutely battered. I don't see the point in it, but it was very good. But I don't see the point in killing each other for just the Raw.
Yeah,
that was brilliant.
I thought Joe, watch it. I know I love some of the memes you put out on Twitter, Joe. But it's clearly we're probably waiting years to see Sheamus, kind of get back into that headline spot. I did think it was going to be obviously Drew and Sheamus for the belt. That could have, to me, that was a better storyline with the history. But are you happy with the way Sheamus is going at this moment in time?
I think it's good if they're putting Drew into the main picture in the main event or whatever the main event's going to be against Bobby Lashley. He needs to prove that he can kick somebody's ass. So another match against Sheamus, put him to bed. Go off and face Bobby, but I can see after WrestleMania, obviously if Drew doesn't win the title, they're going to have something for Drew to do. I would turn him heel and put him in a tag team with Sheamus and let them kick the crap out of the whole division.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what's your take on the whole thing? Obviously, we love Sheamus given he's a fellow Irishman. Obviously himself and Drew have a lot of history, but do you think Sheamus should maybe get a bigger push? Because I know he's kind of in the spotlight. Do you think maybe he should be in a triple threat at WrestleMania, or do you reckon it's just a case of Drew's going to beat him and go on to fight Lashley?
I think Sheamus is in purgatory at the moment. I don't think he knows if he's going up or down. And I don't think they do either. I think they're kind of really, really playing it by the day. And I think that could probably have a lot to do with the plans being up in the air and back to square one as well, because they don't know how they're going to move forward with an awful lot of things. Massive cheerleader for Sheamus, for sure, but I just kind of feel I would have preferred more build with him and Drew's feud. I really, really would have. I think it was a little bit too fast to the mark. Mania, I do love you, Sheamus, but I want to see Drew and Bobby. I don't want Sheamus in it, to be honest with you. I think, as Jerry said, I think there needs to be another whatever big match, put it to bed, because when there's no stakes, it's just dragging the arse out of it.
That's my standing number one contender match.
Yeah.
Something that's I know they've history, and I know that they're both animals. We know that they've both have history, grown up together and rested together, but it's just kind of bragging rights, but it's not even bragging rights. It's just, there's just no stakes. I just lost interest, to be honest. I can't see an end for it.
Yeah. Matt, you spoke a couple of months about, I remember we spoke, it would have been about 2 months ago, about obviously Sheamus, and we could have spoke last year about how they dropped the ball with Sheamus, and then obviously then the start of the year, they could have got the ball back with Sheamus, and he was kind of in a good position and stuff. Do you think they're going to use Sheamus as make way for Drew to go back into that main kind of headline spot?
What I kind of like to see is now of course me always following Sheamus' career, I'm glad WWE's doing something with him. But like what Jared said, that if they can put this to bed at Fastlane with Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, I can actually see maybe when Drew's facing Bobby Lashley, maybe Sheamus might come out and cost Drew McIntyre the match, and maybe going to build Sheamus to be like the thorn in Drew McIntyre's side and keep this rivalry going. That way we'll have Drew McIntyre taking a break from going for the title scene. I know he's an amazing champion for the last year, but taking a break while he's facing Sheamus. So that way WWE's using something with Sheamus, using something with Drew, and like Joe said, down the line, have them as a tag team. So they'll do something good with both of them. And when they're getting over with the fans, maybe I would like to have Sheamus this time going after the title instead of Drew McIntyre, and maybe then they'll have a good rivalry again with the title. Because again, it breaks my heart talking shite about a famous Irish fella, but Sheamus did not have the best title runs, to my opinion. So if they can at least squeeze in a good title reign with Drew McIntyre, with a decent rivalry with him, that'll be something that I'll be definitely going for. I know it's kind of up in the air with Sheamus and Drew, but at the moment I would like to see them continuing this rivalry since they built it up for so long.
I love it. Now, Tim, there was a question put our way recently by one of the fans that tuned into the podcast and the show, but what's your take on Bray Wyatt? Obviously, Alexa Bliss is still playing with fire. Obviously, the whole Orton thing is still happening. But do you think we're on the brink of seeing Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, come back? Or is it going to be a WrestleMania thing? Or what's going to happen in your opinion?
Raw after Fastlane, he'll show up. That he will. There was no point bringing him back too early. Like, it was grand to have Alexa doing all the mind games at Orton and building us to it, because if you brought him back too early, you'd 6 or 7 weeks of him doing this, because he doesn't wrestle every week, as we know. There's no point having this supernatural character wrestling every week, just like The Undertaker didn't wrestle every week. The point of bringing them back a bit later is that you only have a couple of weeks to Mania. You can build it. I think it'll be a gimmick match. What kind of gimmick match? Are they going to do?
Firefly Funhouse.
But is it going to be another Firefly Funhouse? Because I think they're kind of going away from Bray being the host of this show with the puppets. I think they're going to have him as a very dark character.
Yeah.
Like, with all the...
They should.
Like the black coming out of Orton's mouth and all that, that just reminds me of Papa Shango when he hypnotized the Ultimate Warrior. And, like, are they going to go down the route of all this voodoo? And we don't know. Like, Alexa Bliss seems to snap and turn into this evil character. They're doing the pentagrams and everything with her standing in the middle of them praying. The possession of a Randy Orton lookalike and all that.
Once Randy Orton doesn't become like a puppet where he moves his hands and his hands go up and down.
No, they're not going to go that way. Orton's not stupid. Orton wouldn't get involved in a storyline like that. Randy Orton in the last year, bar the likes of Drew and Roman Reigns, Randy Orton has been the best thing on the roster. I never thought I'd say it after all this time, because I thought he was boring for a good few years. He was phoning it in, but he seems to be enjoying himself again.
Or is it back when he did those epic promos of my name is Randy Orton.
I love it. No, it's just because we're all obviously missing him. Obviously, the Fiend was built up so well. Obviously, Goldberg came and destroyed him, and then obviously he came back, and then Alexa Bliss is playing her part. So yeah, it's good to have your take on that. Now, we have to mention, lads, obviously AEW. I know Tim and Phil are going to do some Impact stuff.
This week's AEW had one of the best endings I've seen in a long time.
Yes.
Just before we get to that, what about the greatest match ever, lads? Omega and Moxley. What about the ending? It was unbelievable. One of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Horrific.
Story of my life.
Ending.
Unreal. It was like the Millennium, lads, the way it went off. I couldn't believe the spectacle was incredible.
I was reading yesterday at the practice it 3 times and it went off perfectly, and it didn't on the show for some reason.
It made my day because I didn't want that match to happen, so it actually made my day. But as we saw, one person saved that and he wasn't even involved in the match.
Stop, yeah.
No,
Kingston,
they
should just strap the rocket to him.
I have to ask the duo of Irish Wrestling Entertainment, because I love the stuff you put out, Jordan, has been on Twitter, and even the Simpsons stuff, like I tell you, it's unbelievable. I kind of didn't stay up to watch it. I seen everything next morning, but the interactions on Twitter were crazy. It was like the Millennium, lads, wasn't it? It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel sorry for them.
I know that they actually backed it up by Kenny purposely making it played a huge joke on them when he apparently made the explosions. So at least they backed it up as in they fecked up, but we're going to use this as an inside joke. But really, us as wrestling fans, is it really part of the storyline though? He fecked up, lads. Now.
We all know it wasn't, but I was delighted because I did not want that match to happen. I thought it was garbage.
I liked the match. I hate the ending.
I enjoyed the match up until that.
I hated the match. I loved the ending.
Yeah. I don't know. Now, what about the arrival of I suppose they were right in saying Hall of Fame worthy 100%. Now, obviously, we've seen Christian Cage come out, lads, to sign the contract. Now, one thing I liked, right? I liked the name Christian Cage, first of all. To me, it's like a Marvel superhero kind of style. But I love the kind of the entrance and the music as well. Is it
It's his old TNA song.
It's
his old TNA music. It's his old TNA music.
But do you think it was a disappointment, or do you think it was good?
I think
disappointing.
They built it up too much.
They should have said nothing. They should have said nothing and just had him on the show.
He thought they were going to do nothing.
Even Dynamite was shocking. We were chatting about it earlier, and it was like watching two different things, or watching one thing and listening to another thing. Like we had like the countdown, etc., etc. But when he came out into the ring, I know he admitted on Renee Young's podcast that he was like nervous for that, and he wasn't nervous for the Rumble, which is good. It shows he cares. But lackluster. I wanted to be so here for it, but it was just lackluster. And the commentary were watching something else. They were literally watching something else because what they were saying did not match what I was watching. They hyped it up so much, and I was like, what's going on? He was like, they're watching the same thing that I am, because this is just not at all. You know, I just no.
Yeah. If wins and losses are supposed to mean so much in AEW, how's he going straight in for their world title?
Yeah, exactly.
He hasn't won anything. He hasn't lost anything.
Do you know what? No, because I will Tim Cornette all over this if I get into that. So I will sit this one out. If I answer your question, I will go Tim Cornette.
I think they're doing that match because it won't be the main event.
Yeah.
Like, are they really going to put him in? He's in two separate storylines now. As we know, he's going to Impact to fight for the world title. Like, so why they should just leave him in the Moxley kind of feud down there, because we know it's not for the title with Kingston and the whole lot, and leave him win the Impact title.
Yeah, I can't agree with Elizabeth. Like, they just build it up way too much. I would rather if they just like mention on Twitter or Instagram major signing with AEW, and then the next Impact, maybe Christian Cage would come out with the countdown and then facing Kenny Omega, and that would be the end of the night. It won't be like the best of debut, but it'll make us say, oh, shine, it's Christian Cage. He's back. Yeah. It'll be better than, a Revolution.
Matt, what do you reckon he can offer? Obviously, we've seen Christian for so many years now. He's ancient. Like, obviously, we grew up. He's part of our childhood. But can Christian Cage offer something to AEW? Is it a case he can go on a good title run, win a title, or is he just going to be there like, a fellow veteran? He looks good. He really does look good at this moment. Like.
Yeah, now I've always been a huge supporter of Christian, like no matter what, because I always want to pull for him to have at least a decent title reign and everything. But with AEW again, it didn't really, shock me again. The whole build-up and like the whole debut was like hit or miss for me. But I would love to see him going after the world title picture, but I don't want him to go at it too soon because, like, I don't want. Oh, he used to be in WWE. He's underrated. Here's a title shot. I kind of like to see him going after the TNT title, to be honest, and then building himself up. I know, he's like 47 now,
yeah,
is he?
Perfect. Yeah, bad guy.
Yeah, 47, yes, boy. And everyone says time is on his side, but maybe make this time to at least have him, use him properly with AEW. So that's kind of my one. I'm going to pull for whatever they toss at Christian, no matter how bad of a storyline would be. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. No, it's interesting times. Obviously, we've seen the whole MGF thing as well, and Jericho, the kind of that little feud. Now, yet again, I happen to miss it, but I somehow, like, when at night I'd always go on Twitter and look at stuff. Obviously, it was trending. We seen MGF kind of try to set up Jericho. There was a twist and a twist. Phil, what was your take on it?
It's brilliant. Well done. Like, the only thing that annoys me is the name of the group going forward.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it. It's not named.
I won't spoil anything, but like going forward, they're going to have a new name, and it's not what we thought it was.
It should have been that.
Yeah.
Because
overall, it was probably the best ending to an Impact or an Impact Dynamite. There you go.
Yeah.
Best ending to Dynamite that I've seen.
Agreed.
And Jericho will be face moving forward as well.
And the inner circle are going face, and along with Sammy Guevara, bringing back to him. Yeah. But also, MJF is the perfect guy to be leading this group. He is their Ric Flair, because he is the dirtiest player in AEW, as we've seen trying to screw Jericho. We all thought the minute he joined them that he was going to try and screw Jericho, but the AEW shocked us all by having him have a new group. We all thought he was going to take over the inner circle.
Yeah.
Better not, because Santana and Ortiz, MJ or Jericho and Sammy Guevara, you can instantly have them as baby faces. Hager as the bodyguard. It doesn't matter what he is like.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Chris Jericho as a face, because Chris Jericho can work well as a heel and as a face. So maybe I like him both ways, but a change of pace would be good. And of course, MJF to me is probably the best heel in wrestling at the moment. Like, because every time I see him, I go for him, but I just want to boo him, be like, "Fuck you, MJF," and I shouldn't swear, but anyway.
This thing is going to lead to a big match at the next pay-per-view.
No, that's what we want. That's what we want. Now, we have about 5 minutes left, lads. I'm going to quickly switch to NXT again.
Yeah.
I've been really impressed with Pete Dunne at this moment in time. Pete Dunne he's had a little transformation. He looks really good. Obviously, we've seen Balor and Adam Cole go at it. New tag team champions. What's your take, Jer, on Balor and Adam Cole at this moment in time? Obviously, they had a match. It was interesting. Are you liking it?
Yeah, it was a great match. They were never going to have a bad match. They could, be blindfolded and just still put on some sort of a good match.
Yep.
And it was good just to close off that chapter so Balor can move on to Cross for takeover.
The end of it was superb with the camera work.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, because to be honest, if there was a crowd there, that probably would ruin it. Just like random cheers and then the camera pan. So very good ending.
Yeah. Now, Phil, I know you didn't like the whole, the belts being handed, and obviously that they lost them straight away. What's your take on that? Like,
I don't see the point of the whole thing. Like, if that was the case, why not just give it to them weeks ago when they won the cup?
Yeah.
It's strange. It was like it was rushed, and obviously they lost the belts. No.
Deservedly,
you know what I mean?
The thing is, Triple H said in a conference call about a week or so ago that he doesn't want any more belts.
Yeah. Well, obviously they're being forced onto him.
I don't know.
They're being forced. Now, obviously, we know what's going to happen next. Obviously, there was talks of Kyle O'Reilly, and I know the injury, and there was talks. We didn't know what was going to happen at Mania, but obviously, Balor's going to face Cross at Mania. That's looking like
NXT Takeover.
NXT
NXT Takeover Wednesday and Thursday Mania week. Obviously, we're going to get Cross and Balor, and I think we're going to get a fatal 4-way of the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
It's a whole mad week that week. Your Hall of Fame is on Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
Double Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If the Hall of Fame wasn't long enough before.
I know. Happy days when you fell asleep, Tim.
I didn't fall asleep. I was resting my eyes.
You were. I was looking at you.
That could have been the 15 vodka and Red Bulls before it.
Who was it? It was your man Hillbilly. Was it a Hillbilly Jim? Was it, or? Remember anyway, you fell asleep and Goldberg came out then. You were
Wrestle talk.
But,
I woke up for Phil's guy then when Goldberg came out.
I remember that. Last of all, we have to mention there was a few people on about Toni Storm. A lot of people interested in Toni Storm this day and age. Obviously, she lost on NXT, but is Toni Storm onto something big? Elizabeth, do you reckon she can be a future NXT Women's Champion?
Yeah, I do, totally. Toni Storm is fierce. I like that for her match this week that they changed up her gear. I think it done her a massive, massive favour. She looks more like a star now in the gear that she's in. It's very, very cleverly designed as well because she's lifting heavy, so she's quite thick. So it's doing her a lot better favours. She looks a lot stronger. She has the moveset, she has everything. She's star written all over her. But I'm interested to see where she's going to go after Io Shirai calling out Raquel Gonzalez, which I would probably give a limb to see because I'm a massive mark for Raquel Gonzalez. So I'm not really sure what route they're going to go with Toni Storm because I'd imagine Io's going to drop to Raquel and be called up first. But then it's like I'm not really sure then what happens with Toni. Does she go after Raquel or is her time chasing the title done so quick? So tough one to call.
Maybe she's going straight to the main roster.
I'd say so.
Have no women.
Yeah.
Toni Storm?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying maybe that's what they're thinking.
Maybe. Now, Matt, I know you had to give a shout out because we're almost finished. You've got a lot of fans tuning in, but obviously you want to give a shout out to someone in particular.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to John Bransfield. He's a fellow
Yes.
in Co Foundation. Yeah, some of you lads may know him. He listened to this podcast at the very beginning, and he told me that he always enjoyed listening to us. So cheers, John. And I said, "What do you think of me?" And he was like, yeah. So thanks, Dad.
I love it. Now, also, guys, check out Irish Wrestling Entertainment on Twitter. It's Irish Wrestling 8. It's John Elizabeth. They do some great things on that Twitter page. Also, check out Slam Wrestling. Obviously, we couldn't get WrestleSlam, even though we're WrestleSlam. So we had to go Slam Wrestling. Same thing, just type in WrestleSlam. It will bring you there as well. Twitter's been really good these last couple of weeks. Phil has been working really hard. We've Chris Masters on to us. Tim, you're doing some great work with Masters last night, Killer Cross. So do check us out on Twitter, and also we're on Facebook and Instagram as well. Merchandise will be here in April, guys. We will have a few giveaways, but the team will be wearing all that stuff this coming April. So more to come. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today for a great show as always. It means a lot.
Thanks, lads.
Yeah.
Yes, guys. Thank you.